Now, the Bruhat Bangalore Mahanagara Palike, or the Greater Bangalore Municipal Corporation, is all set for a facelift. 6 years since its formation, the government is now mulling the bifurcation or trifurcation of the corporation to aid city administration. The proposed division of the BBMP has seen a number of supporters and naysayers. Will this be a step in the right direction? Lakshmi Sivadas finds out.
If you don't know what the London boroughs are, you may soon find out, courtesy the government of Karnataka. They are now mooting a proposal to split the Bangalore City Corporation or BBMP on the lines of the administrative subdivisions in London. The reason for the split? Easing city administration.
Overall, the duties get decentralized, which effectively means better management. Firstly, they need to deploy the right kind of manpower who are empowered to take decisions and how their reporting will finally function. Obviously, in terms of project approvals, things should move faster.
But why is the BBMP being divided? First, a look at its history. The BBMP had replaced the Bangalore Mahanagara Palike, also known as the BMP, back in 2007. The state government had merged wards from the BMP with the city municipal councils, a town council and villages from around the city to form a single administrative area which comprised 145 wards. The number of wards later increased to 198 with a total of 8 zones. The merging was originally done to create one large administrative body to promote balanced development and decrease bureaucratic delays in sanctioning projects. However, 6 years on, with the corporation failing to meet expectations, a split is highly likely. The corporation may now be bifurcated or trifurcated after reorganizing zones, each with a separate commissioner heading it. Experts say that the impact will be on existing and future infra projects in terms of coordination and transfer of funds. Private companies will need to enter into separate agreements with the various divided authorities, and lastly, the jurisdiction of the Bangalore Electricity Board and the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewage Board would also be affected. However, industry experts say that the immediate impact will only be temporary.
This is a good position to take. Break them down into functional cells that will work on their own with some central management systems that go back to the state government, and there will not be too much of a challenge. Yes, there will be some transitional challenges, but it will set down nicely enough.
But the feeling is not the same across the board. While protests have emerged on political grounds, others have questioned the need for the split, saying that it will only bring about more non-coordination among the existing government bodies of the city.
Having 3 commissioners also will not solve the problem of lack of empowerment of ward committees and area sabhas. Uncoordinated actions are going to continue. So and if they split BBMP now into 3 different corporations, this lack of coordination is going to get multiplied.
When the BBMP was originally formed, the immediate fallout was to projects in the pipeline at the time. For example, phase 2 of the Kaveri water supply scheme. Some regions which were included in the initial proposal were later left out when the zones were redrawn. Experts fear that the same may happen to existing projects in the pipeline this time round too. In Bangalore, Lakshmi Sivadas, NDTV.
Bangalore civic body, the BBMP, headed for a complete overhaul. Currently, the BBMP maintains a massive 198 wards, but reports claim soon they could be redistributed across 3 zones. There will be a Kempe Gowda Mahanagar Palika made up of the wards of core Bangalore in the centre. The others could be the Bangalore North and the third could be Bangalore South. Now, what does it mean for the citizens of Bangalore? More efficient administration, no more pothole roads, faster execution of infrastructure projects? Let's understand what the split of the BBMP could mean for the city. I'm joined by Katyayani Chamaraj, Executive Trustee Civic, and from commonflow.com we have the Head of Domain Research Real Estate, Meha Singla. Katyayani, Meha, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Katyayani, let me begin with you. In the story, like we heard, you believe that splitting the BBMP would only add to the chaos and the confusion and the multiplicity. But already the BBMP has a lot on its plate. 198 wards. So isn't restructuring the way to go to bring in efficient administration in Bangalore?
Well, I think your first statement is correct. I believe that it will cause more problems because as it is, There is no proper coordination between the water supply board, the planning authority, which is the Bangalore Development Authority, BESCOM, and the traffic police, and the law and order police, or the transport corporation. I think splitting Bangalore into 3 zones is going to add to the confusion. At least now we have one municipal body, but once it is split, then we don't know how they are going to coordinate with one another if there are going to be projects that run across the 3 municipal corporations. And when they merged all the outlying areas in 2007 and formed Greater Bangalore, they should have set up by then a proper metropolitan planning committee, which is mandated under the 74th constitutional amendment. That would have brought in orderly planning, but they did not set it up, and that is a violation since 22 years of the constitution. And without that coordinating body being there, whether you split Bangalore into 2 or 3, it's not going to make much difference. Right. Well, now as a mandate from the court, they have set up a metropolitan planning committee. The election took place just on the 15th and 16th of September. Okay. But if you look at the rules that have been framed for the functioning of the metropolitan planning committee, they are very weak, and it doesn't give local planning powers to the municipalities and the rural bodies within Bangalore. Most of the powers are still being held by the parastatals, which are being called the local planning authorities. And also the Metropolitan Planning Committee is overrun with the state government officials, as well as the chief minister, as well as all the MLAs and MLCs representing Bangalore in the Legislative Assembly and Legislative Council.
Okay. So Katyayani, essentially you're saying coordination will be the big problem, and you need to empower the grassroots level agencies to bring in better coordination and more effective administration. Neha, now the real estate industry in Bangalore was hoping that with one large single civic body, approvals and clearances would happen faster, but clearly with 198 wards, the pace of infrastructure development was clearly hit. Now what do you expect to happen now that the BBMP is going to be split? What do you see happening in Bangalore with respect to the real estate industry?
See, this entire bifurcation is a good step ahead, but the problem with this is if it is not implemented properly and in a well thought manner, all projects will be badly impacted. But the way I read the newspaper and I see is that the Chief Minister is going to set up a council of experts to do this bifurcation. If that is done, and it is done in a very methodical way, then I don't think these problems will happen. And as my co-panelist rightly said, MPC and DPC, that is district planning committees and master planning committees, have to be set up, and if they have the right authority, they have the way of executing the master plan which is being made by them and ensuring that this is being executed by the smaller municipal corporations or bodies which will come in times to come. So then it would not be a problem. I would really like to point out here that district planning committees have been really left aside, and most of the Bangalore is actually progressing. If you see, all the 4 sites are towards the villages or suburban kind of places. So I think it's high time that district planning committees also start ensuring that the municipal bodies are executing what exactly is required. I could not agree more that there's already a very intrinsic regulatory body which we have here, and having multiple bodies, multiple individual bodies will add to the chaos, especially in big projects like regional projects such as peripheral ring road, smaller projects which cut across the city like metro, and projects of industrial status of 500 acres and above. It has to be a lot of regulatory mechanism which has to come.
Yeah.
And if you see our, a lot of times people have taken examples of London, etc. If you see there is a central authority which exists there, and interestingly, this authority has all the powers of executing strategic plans, urban transport plans, land development plans. Something similar has to be done here. Only bifurcating is a half-baked job, and if it is not coordinated properly, it will definitely add to chaos.
Katyayani, I believe that the BBMP still does not have control over the other bodies, the electricity body, the body that takes care of sewage and water, and the development body. So in a sense, more bodies are going to be created, multiplicity of authorities. Now, what are the urban development issues on ground that citizens and residents and home buyers in the many property markets of Bangalore, what are these issues that they want resolved? What kind of change do they want to see on ground, which you are proposing that these ward level committees should take up?
Yes, that's exactly what citizens would want, that decision making has to be decentralized to the ward level, and that grievance redressal mechanism should be active at the ward level. Right now if the commissioner is overburdened with 198 wards, it's because these ward committees and area sabhas are not functional, and every local grievance which should have been solved at the local level is being escalated up to the commissioner. So if only they empower citizens and the ward committees effectively, a lot of the pressure on the commissioner will come down, and he can concentrate, like the London mayor, on the strategic planning and other issues. And you see, London is supposed to be functioning with boroughs, but overall, the Lord Mayor of London is a single person, and the boroughs have figurehead mayors who don't have executive powers, and the administrative functions are carried out by the executives. But overall coordination is made possible by having one single mayor for entire London, and the identity of the city is also maintained that way, and coordination becomes easy. So we would prefer that Bangalore remains one, but that the local grievance mechanisms and the local decision making is decentralized to the zones already existing. The 8 zones are already there, and further down to the ward committees and the area sabhas. Now even the ward committees and area sabhas have not been set up, and that is also happening now through a court directive. And once those become really effective and functional, then I think the commissioner, a single commissioner, could very well do his job.
Okay, so one central power body, and decentralize it into many local ward committees. Neha, let me bring in one last view from you. What you propose should be the way out to bring in the developer community to become partners in town planning when it comes to their interaction with these civic bodies. What kind of solutions do you propose, instead of to also speed up local governance?
See, the entire local governance should be very participatory by citizens, the decision makers, by the citizens, by the developer body, and if that is done, and the developers body has been taken in account of. For example, for the simplest thing, that they should ensure that across the municipalities the approval norms should be the same, the forms should be the same, the building height should be the same, maybe. So they have to ensure all these small things, and if in the Council of Ministers or the experts where this bifurcation discussions are there, a right developer body can represent, it would be really good, and the distribution of this BBMP will become really efficient, and it will be good for all. Otherwise, it will be very one-sided, imbalanced and opaque system.
All right, Meha Singla from commonfloor.com and Katyayani Chamraj from Civic. Thank you so much for joining me today to bring those very important and interesting perspectives on what could happen to Bangalore's civic landscape once its civic body is split.